Video game franchises, we're the advocate of it. Get rid of indie games. Get rid of small games that are on their own. I want only big, juicy, meaty, girthy, long franchises. Yes. Anyways, today we're talking about video game franchises and ones that we think should come back and actually be reintroduced into the gaming marketplace. Things that have been dead for quite a while and they need to thrust their way back into our lives and into the public limelight. If you enjoyed today's video, please be sure to smash that like button. Be sure to actually grab on and grope that subscribe button, and let's hop right into the video. Number 5. The first one is Spyro. Now, it did make a small comeback a little while ago on the PS4 and Xbox One with the whole Spyro Reignited trilogy. Obviously, they brought back the original 3 games, remade them, and they're really fun. They're awesome. Also, we have a Let's Play of the first one over on Degenerate Plays. That's in the description down below. Nate, this is something that I think you were not expecting to like Spyro as much as you did. And I think a lot of people just have not been able to experience these games because they've just been gone forever. Right. You know, when Activision kind of hit their pump out absolutely everything phase, they did make some side games, and some of them are good. Same with Crash, but generally the original series is regarded as the best. But unlike Crash, when this came back, it did not get a 4th proper game. It just got a remake, and then they kind of backed off again.
I actually really like Spyro. I've always liked Spyro, but I never really had the chance to play them until they did the remaster. Now, after platinuming all 3 of those, I need some, deep penetration of this in my life.
Right, that makes sense.
Now. They're great games. That was the thing that I thought was weird, was that when they released the Crash trilogy, they released a Crash 4, which I thought it was weird that they never released a Spyro 4.
I think one of the things with Spyro that was really interesting is they made 3D collectathons fun. I think that going through collecting items and stuff like that, it's kind of fallen out of favor in gaming. Games that focus on it, right? Going around grabbing items and stuff like that, it's kind of now seen as low-hanging fruit game design for whatever reason. But when this was done well, it was really enjoyable. Other games that did it well were Crash and even Banjo-Kazooie. So there was stuff like this around at the time, but it's just too bad we don't get to see it now. And there is a reason people talked about the Spyro Reignited trilogy when it came out again.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. That was the odd thing to me.
Yeah.
It's like, you already revived one of your franchises. Why not revive the other one?
Number 4. It's the 4th one.
4.
The next game franchise that needs to come back is Silent Hill. Now, the Silent Hill games are amazing. They are constantly seen as the best or some of the best survival horror games ever made. They are psychological thrillers. They are intelligent games. They're well written. They use literary devices like symbolism. And at the end of the day, they're just fun to play. Nobody goes into Silent Hill for the combat, but what they do go into it for is the world building, the lore, the storytelling of the characters, the atmosphere, and just the ability to enter these other worlds that are so foreign and alien to, I guess, normal people, and experience essentially just a psychological trip in the form of a game that is able to tell good stories. It's sad because a lot of these games are not actually easily playable anymore unless you want to go torrent the PC version of Silent Hill 2, or you want to spend $150 on a physical copy of it. These games are getting harder and harder to play. Silent Hill 1 is pretty easily accessible on the PS3, and 4 is now on the PC. But there's a lot of in-between here for this franchise in its golden years of 1 through 4 and Origins that is sadly just kind of gone. So it's one of those things where it's not only it needs to come back, it's also hard to play the ones that exist.
Right.
And that's kind of a shame. It seems like such a missed opportunity. Now, Konami's full of these, but it seems like such a missed opportunity to not capitalize on one of the most iconic franchises in gaming.
Yeah, I always find that kind of weird. To me, it's like, if you have a game franchise, maybe you don't want to make another one, fine. Why can't you just make the games that you already own accessible? I don't get what the argument is oh, well, we have it on the PS2, so it's good.
Right.
And it's well, okay, sure, but
there's not a digital version of that.
Well, yeah, and also when you just takes a quick, easy eBay search to realize this is like $100.
Mm-hmm.
Just bring the game back. Like, no one in their right mind is going to spend $100 on a game unless that's like your favorite game ever,
right,
and you are fine spending $100 on it.
Right. So it makes it so the general public just can't or won't access your game anymore.
And that's stupid, because it's like, well, then what's the, like, you made the game, you got the money for it initially, and then you're just fine.
It is odd because you'd think that they would want to rework the PC port. I mean, there is so like for Silent Hill 2, which is probably the most renowned game in the whole franchise.
Yeah.
You would think that at the very least they would want to rework the PC port, bring in a couple of the dudes who did the modded version to make the PC port better and put it, I would say, even above the console version in terms of, you know, performance, how it looks and everything, because the PC port of Silent Hill 2 was a mess, and then they did a HD remaster or whatever that was pretty bad of 2 and 3 back on the PS3. Then they just left them to die since then, right? But you'd think you'd want to bring in a couple of these modders, pay them a few $1,000s, and think about how many tens of thousands of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars you could rake in if you marketed this thing a little bit as finally available again.
Right.
You know, it just doesn't make sense to me that they don't want that money. And it comes down to, obviously, pachinko and in my opinion, Konami almost becoming like a glorified gambling company and just seeing more money there. But I've never understood this, because with business, everybody wants to make all of the money. So I understand if the potential payout isn't as big, but it's still a payout.
Right.
So from a corporate standpoint, I'd think you'd want the money. And from an artistic standpoint, these are some of the most imaginative, creative horror games ever made. They do a great job with iconic characters and storytelling. People can see characters and enemies from Silent Hill who have never played Silent Hill and know what they're from.
Right.
Characters like Pyramid Head or the nurses. When people see those characters, they know generally enough, if they're into gaming at all, about Silent Hill that they know what those are from, even though Silent Hill hasn't made games in years. That shows the staying power. That shows the iconography and that people are interested and would buy into this new world. You even look at all of the press around PT. By the way, we played through PT on Degenerate Plays, description down below, check it out. But where they were going to make it with Hideo Kojima and Guillermo del Toro and, Norman Reedus, and it just got canceled and everybody was upset. I mean, the internet was in an uproar. They were mad. You know, there was this interest. I'm surprised that there even is an interest at this point because of how long it's been that people still care, but they do. And I still care too. And it's just sad to see something so imaginative and that so many stories can be told in just die. Sometimes it's the town confronting a character with their own failures and sins and making them realize their problems and grow as a person over time. Sometimes it's showing them more of things that are happening or happened in the town around traumatic events. And what I'm saying is, this is essentially, not that I want this, but this is a world that could tell hundreds of stories about unique characters if you wanted it to, if they were well written, but they're not even willing to tell one.
Well, yeah, and then at that point, it's like, why own the property?
Yeah.
Sell it to a company that wants to make these games.
Or license it out at the very least.
Right.
Because you would make money off that license.
Yeah.
Number three. The next one we have is Metal Gear Solid. I love these games.
Yeah, these are great.
These games are amazing. And this one is a little difficult, I think, to bring back because it's very much about Snake and different Snake characters. And I will say that this franchise was very, very, very rested on the back of Hideo Kojima. So because of that, I think it's difficult to bring this back. It's hard to bring it back without Kojima, because he does have a very bad relationship with Konami, from what I understand. Mainly their fault, not his. And it's a shame because these are some of the smartest games I think we've ever played. Now, they are batshit crazy at a lot of points in the storylines, but they have such memorable characters and fun gameplay, and they make you want to seek out side content and little secrets and get invested in their world. But we haven't been able to see a game since MGS5, which wasn't even finished. They basically forced Hideo Kojima to release that game early.
Right. They could make a game about Snake in his nudist years, Naked Snake.
Right, that's true. His father. Yeah.
So they already have like a good idea here.
Right. That's
but
true.
Yeah, I don't know. These games are so great. And I remember when we played on the Degenerate Plays Let's Play channel.
Noticing a theme here.
Yeah. I went into the game like, yeah, this will be kind of fun. But then I left the game like, I can't believe how in-depth that game was. Like, you would come across an item, like, for example, like a handkerchief. And you could just be like, oh, this is just a dumb handkerchief. What is this? But that handkerchief has like one purpose in the game, and it's literally to get past like Sniper Wolf's wolves in the cave. Like, just something that's kind of clever, something that's not needed. Like, you can play through the game without finding that handkerchief, but it's just something that adds to the world. And that's kind of what my impression was with those games in general, or at least that game, was this franchise really does a good job, not only just with their story, but with their world building and the ability to bring in different side stuff throughout their game that really add to the overall gaming experience. And it's not really anything that I've seen very often in a video game.
No, it's something where I don't understand why they couldn't even go back. Like, if you're Konami and you think that this game franchise is about Solid Snake, and you think that maybe there's another story to tell about Solid Snake, I don't understand why you wouldn't want to put your hubris aside, say, hey, we're going to license this out to PlayStation, okay? And they will have Hideo Kojima make them a new Metal Gear Solid game. Yeah. Then he doesn't have to deal with us, we don't have to deal with him. He can work on his project that we know will make us and them money, and maybe he can tell a story that he wants to tell, maybe about a different Snake or a different character in the world, or maybe he wants to tell a story about Solid Snake set between the events of 2 and 4, because there's a handful of years in there, and we know Snake went on adventures in that time. There's a ton of different gaps in the story there, and characters like Venom Snake, Big Bosses, Naked Snake, Solid Snake. There's a lot of characters you could write new stories about, and you don't even have to have your, like, you don't have to pick. You could have your cake and eat it too if you just licensed it away and still brought in Hideo Kojima to make it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't really get why not. Like, this was Hideo Kojima's, like, masterpiece. And yes, everything has to end at a point, but it's been how many years since 5? What, like 6 years? I kind of feel like it's gotten to the point where it's like, okay, 5 has settled. It's a game that's out for a while. A lot of people have played it. It's done its thing, but we're ready for a new one.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like we're not going to get that.
But also, if you're not going to bring him back, I think the safer option is just remake the old games in something like the Fox engine, like from Metal Gear Solid 5, which was just wasted and then discarded for no reason. It was wasted on things like soccer games.
Yeah.
Well, why didn't we just do this? Why didn't we say, well, we have this engine, let's remake 1 down to just like the T, down to everything it did, remake it, everything is the same. If anything, we add in more content that's, side missions or whatever, and we remake that and bring it out, and people will buy it. That it's a very obvious place to go with this franchise, remaking 1, 2, and 3 at the very least.
Yeah.
Done.
There you go.
Millions of dollars. But they just have no interest.
Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, if you have no interest in a property, I've said it with the Spyro thing, don't have the property.
Yeah, license it out or sell it.
Give it to someone that wants to make that game.
Number 2, the numero dos. The next one is the 007 games. Nate, I think you should mainly take the wheel on this one because I love these games, but this is probably like one of the franchises you are the most passionate about.
As Carrie Underwood would say, I only let Jesus take the wheel.
Oh, okay.
So stop that.
Well, I don't believe in him. I believe in healing rocks.
Right. No, yeah, the 007 games, it's pathetic to me. Like, I understand there's been some low points in this gaming franchise. I get it. Like 007 Legends, well, it was not the worst game I've ever played. It was definitely kind of boring. And yes, there's parts about it that were great, but for the overall experience, it was kind of boring. And there's other games out there, other 007 games out there that are also bad.
James Bond Jr.
Well, that is actually in the category of the best one.
Got it. Sorry.
But there's also great games out there like GoldenEye, the N64 GoldenEye, and not only that, but also the Wii and the Xbox 360 GoldenEye. I don't know. It's just, to me, The reasons why there's no 007's games don't make sense to me. Like, 007 is one of the most popular characters ever, and it's not even that his games sucked. His games were really fun. So why aren't we making more games of these? It's an easy marketing, like, symbol. You know, like, everyone knows who James Bond is. You don't even have to do anything.
Look at No Time to Die. Look at how much money that made.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And I mean, even if you look at the fact that these games had problems, which they did,
right,
a lot of that came from laziness with Activision and doing movie tie-in games.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the sad thing with it. I mean, it's the same thing with The Amazing Spider-Man. When they tried for the first game on 360 and PS3, it was actually really fun.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's a shame that they took a couple of misfires that they caused and basically said, this isn't worth making, let's go back to Call of Duty.
Right.
And then they just quit making licensed games when it was Activision. And then this kind of sat by the wayside for years.
Yeah, and I mean, in terms of 007, I would even say some of the bad ones, like 007 Legends. To me, like 007 Legends, and then also like Bloodstone, even the ones that are okay, to me, at the very least, they're enjoyable games.
Yeah.
You kind of go through and you play, and it's like, this is fun. It's not like mind-blowing, but it's fun. And that's kind of the thing with the 007 games for me, is it's like, even if you just make a basic 007 game, like nothing really intense about it, just a basic game, it still is going to be fun. Because it's James Bond. Because it's in the James Bond world. Because you get to experience that Bond, whether it's Daniel Craig or Pierce Brosnan or even a new Bond that you make up or whatever. It's just the fact you're playing as 007, you're in that world, you're using his gadgets and stuff like that, that makes it kind of fun.
There has been a resurgence of single-player games.
Yeah.
You know, people want to play single-player shooters or single-player story-driven games, like Doom.
Mm-hmm.
People want those kind of games that are also just focused on me playing around in a world.
Right.
Not worried about my KD, not worried about any of that crap, having a fun time. And Bond was amazing for that.
Yeah, it was. And it's kind of a shame that it's not coming back, or at least not right now.
And they did get like a teaser trailer where they just showed the emblem, the logo, and that's it. That's all we've seen. So obviously that's like a confirmed thing, but right now it's still sat around for years.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of why I'm not getting my hopes up.
Right.
Is because I've seen this before.
You've been burned too many times.
I have been burned before. It's like, I don't know. I guess my thing is just, I don't get it. Especially during the heyday of the Daniel Craig Bond character, like his movies, all the way back from Casino now to No Time to Die. To me, yes, I know they released GoldenEye during that era, but to me that seems like the perfect time to capitalize on a Bond game. Because you have a super popular James Bond.
Yeah.
Coming out with movies every couple of years.
But no one cared.
Yeah, and I don't know, that's kind of why I don't get it. It's like, I don't know, I don't understand it. I would love to see a new one. That's
the thing, is like, all of these, you talked about it from the perspective of a fan, but also the perspective of a company.
Yeah.
And it seems like each of these would print money.
I would think so.
The only one that I could see maybe being a little bit of a risk was Spyro.
Yeah.
That's it.
Number 1! Splat.
But we do have one final one. So before we hop into this, if you've enjoyed the video so far, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe for more content. We appreciate it. And we do play a ton of games down below in the description in Degenerate Plays. Check that out as well. I'm not pointing at my down below. I'm pointing at the down below description.
Because I'd like to play those games.
But the final one that needs to thrust its way back into the meaty view of the world,
right,
is The Simpsons. You know, we even had someone on YouTube here like this last year who remade a good portion of The Simpsons. I believe it was Hit and Run, and actually remade it in a different engine. Yeah, and Fox, I believe, had it taken down. Maybe it was Disney at the time. I don't remember.
It was me.
It was you. Okay, so you're the one to send my death threats to.
Yeah.
All right. I know what to seal my envelopes with. That's for sure. Okay. But anyways, the thing with this is everybody recognizes these characters, and when they're done well, they love them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel like this game, the last game to come out was what, like 10 years ago?
It was the movie game. Other
And that
than
was like 10 years ago?
yeah, it was on the Xbox 360 and
It's
I think
time.
the PS3.
It is time.
Oh, and I'm sorry, they made Tapped Out on
Okay,
the phone.
no one cares.
Right? No.
It's time for a new Simpsons game. This game would easily put like 2 in the pink, 1 in the stink into the market. Easily.
That one didn't make any sense.
I'm going to say it anyways.
This one would completely fill the wallet of the company who made it.
There we go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this one would
Right.
it would give a money shot right to
Right.
the creators of it. And
Right.
it's crazy that we don't actually get to see it because if you think about it, think about this. So Hit and Run modernized GTA in The Simpsons.
Yeah. That game like apple pied me.
But think about it.
How great that was.
Think about it now. Think about it coming out
I know.
today with modern tech,
It's-
modern everything, and scope of game design. It could
and
be
scopes
huge.
on your guns.
Right, exactly.
I don't know.
Doesn't make sense, but okay.
You can put it in.
All right, fair enough.
I feel like I have like the worst commentary ever for this.
That's okay.
I don't know. I just feel like the Simpsons world in general is so open
And iconic.
and iconic that you could basically make almost anything and it would be awesome because there's so many different ideas. In fact, you could even do a game kind of like the South Park games.
Yeah.
Kind of in that style of game, but just with the Simpsons characters.
Well, I can't believe that they brought back the SpongeBob games and they're doing well with that and making quality games and people are excited for them, but they won't bring back Simpsons.
Yeah.
I know those are different companies, but my point that I'm getting at is
People like these games.
right, and people like these cartoons and
Yeah.
they're willing to pay for them.
Yep.
I think a lot of it is nervousness around licensed games, games that have to do with movie or cartoon or TV characters, because there was a rocky history with those being really good or absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that it won't be good now.
Well, yeah, and especially with today's market, I feel like people have not seen. Oh, obviously they haven't seen a Simpsons game in a while. I feel like a lot of people would be open to that. I don't think these companies really understand their fans. Like,
Well-
they think like, well, this game's not going to do well.
I think the problem I have with this is that they're just not willing to like spread open the market and really massage it and
Right.
like work that concept into the market, you know?
Yeah, like use
And-
their finger and
Right,
kind of like
you know, just kind
mess
of
around
mess around and
and-
like get it out in the market. And like
Yeah.
the thing is, they just want to take the quick and easy route. They just want to basically slip a couple of microtransactions into your drink, and then
Right.
later on you wonder
Right.
where all your money went.
Right, exactly.
Instead of actually delivering a quality
Why is my
experience,
legs hurt?
you know,
Yeah.
wine and dine the audience and actually
Exactly.
get to a full-on romantic night of you playing the game.
Exactly. It's sad.
It is sad.
It is sad to me.
Thank you.
That's the only word I can use to describe it.
Let us know what you think in the comments down below. I think we should be done. Please be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed this. Subscribe for more content. It's all down there in the description. Everything we do, please check it out.
It's all under the table.
It's all, well, your phone's going off.
phone is going
Is your
off.
sneaky link calling?
My OnlyFans is calling.
Have a fantastic day, and as always, everyone, stay shway.